Margarete Himmler, also known as Marga Himmler, was the wife of Reichsführer-SS Heinrich Himmler. Life = youth, first marriage, and divorce = Margarete Bodden was born the daughter of landowner Hans Bodden and his wife Elfriede, whose maiden name was Pop. Margarete had 4 brothers and a sister. In 1909, she attended the Hauptparagraphiatar-Paragraph-Schule in Bromberg, a city in northern Poland. Margarete trained and worked as a nurse during the First World War, followed by a stint at a German Red Cross hospital at the Wara unregistered trademark S-end. Her first marriage was short and she remained childless. Due to the economic support of her father, she was able to operate and direct a private nursing clinic in Berlin. Marriage to Heinrich Himmler. Himmler met his future wife, Margarete Bodden, in 1927. They met during one of his lecture tours and remained thereafter in written contact with one another. In one surviving letter, Margarete refers to Himmler as the Landsknecht with the hard heart, but she was nevertheless impressed by his romantic style of writing and his sincere love for her. The blonde, blue-eyed nurse Margarete corresponded perfectly to Himmler's ideal woman. 7 years his senior, Margarete shared his interest in herbal medicine and homeopathy, and was part owner of a small private clinic. They shared an excessive propensity for efficiency, neatness, longed for strict domesticity, and both preferred a parsimonious lifestyle. From Himmler she received a consistent diet of anti-Semitism and diatribes against communists and Freemasons. Her anti-Semitism was evident in a letter to Himmler dated June 22, 1928, in which she made disparaging remarks about the co-owner of the private clinic in Berlin, gynecologist and surgeon Bernhard Horschilt, exclaiming, "oe that Horschilt. Those Jews are all the same." Heinrich and Margarete were married in July 1928. Initially, Heinrich struggled with the decision to reveal his relationship with Margarete to his parents, partly due to her being 7 years older, but also because she was a divorcee, and foremost, because she was a Protestant. None of Himmler's family members attended the wedding, so he and Richard unregistered trademark S. groomsmen were the father and brother of the bride. Ultimately, Himmler's parents accepted Margarete, but the family kept their distance from her and remained that way throughout the length of the relationship. The couple had their only child, Gudrun, who was born on August 8, 1929. Besides the parents of Gudrun, the couple were foster parents to a boy named Gerard von Ahe, son of an SS officer who had died before the war. Margarete sold her share of the clinic and used the proceeds to buy a plot of land in Waltrudering, near Munich, where they put up a prefabricated house. Himmler was constantly away on party business, so his wife took charge of their efforts mostly unsuccessful to raise livestock for sale. After the Nazis seized power in January 1933, the family moved first to Paragraph HLSTRASSE in Munich, and in 1934 to Lake Tegern, where they bought a house. Himmler later obtained a large house in the Berlin suburb of Dahlem free of charge as an official residence. The couple saw little of each other as Himmler became totally absorbed by work. Gebhard, Heinrich Himmler's older brother, characterized Margarete as a cool, hard woman with extremely delicate nerves who radiated no warmth at all and spent too much time moaning, who had, in spite of these characteristics, been an exemplary housewife, one who devotedly loved Heinrich and remained true to her husband. Margarete Himmler joined the Nazi Party as early as 1928. Due to Himmler's enormous responsibilities, the relationship with Marga was strained. The couple did unite for social functions. They were frequent guests at the home of Reinhard Heydrich. Margarete saw it as her duty to invite the wives of the senior SS leaders over for afternoon coffee and tea on Wednesday afternoons. Despite her best efforts and the fact that Margarete was married to the Reichsführer-SS, she remained unpopular in SS circles. Former Hitler Youth leader Baldur von Schirach wrote in his memoirs that Heinrich Himmler was constantly henpecked, essentially had zero influence at home, and had to yield to Margarete unregistered trademark S will. During the Nuremberg Rally 1938, Margarete had conflicts with most of the wives of the highest-ranking SS leaders, who as a group refused to take any directions from her. According to Heydrich's biographers and historian Robert Goworth, Lena Heydrich harbored a violent dislike of Margarete Himmler, something which was likely reciprocated. After the war, Lena Heydrich made disparaging comments to a reporter from Der Spiegel. Margarete was described as a narrow-minded, humorless, blonde-haired woman, who suffered from agoraphobia. Hedwig Pothurst, Himmler's young secretary starting in 1936, became his mistress by 1939. She left her job in 1941. Himmler fathered 2 children with her, a son, Helge, and a daughter, Nanette Dorothea. Margarete, by then living in GMUND with her daughter, learned of the relationship sometime in 1941. Margarete and Himmler were already separated, and she decided to tolerate the relationship for the sake of her daughter. Second World War. Once World War II began, Margarete helped operate a military hospital affiliated with the German Red Cross. By December 1939, she was supervising the Red Cross hospitals in Military District 3. In this position, she led missions into the territories and countries occupied by the German Wehrmacht. In March 1940, Margarete recorded a business trip to German-occupied Poland, so she was certainly a witness to events there. In her journals, written while serving, Margarete wrote, "Then I was in Posen, Angströmer Cube Dar and Warsaw. This Jewish rabble, Polacks, most of them don't look like human beings and the dirt is indescribable. It's an incredible job trying to create order there." For her efforts, Margarete reached the rank of colonel in the German Red Cross. In February 1945, in writing to Gebhard Himmler, Margarete said, "How wonderful that he has been called to great tasks and is equal to them. The whole of Germany is looking to him." Himmler was close to his first daughter, Gudrun, whom he nicknamed Pa 1/4 PPI. He phoned her every few days and visited as often as he could. Hedwig and Margarete both remained loyal to Himmler. Margarete and Heinrich Himmler last saw one another in April 1945, sharing time together with their daughter Gudrun at their GMUND residence. Post-war. In 1945, Margarete and Gudrun left GMUND as Allied troops advanced into the area. After the invasion of Bolzano, Italy, by the U.S. Army in May 1945, Margarete and Gudrun were arrested. They were held in various internment camps in Italy, France, and Germany. During her internment, Margarete was interrogated, but it became clear that she was not informed of the official business of her husband, and was described as having a small-town mentality, which persisted throughout her questioning. In September 1945, Margarete Himmler was again interrogated, but this time it was during the Nuremberg trials. Margarete and Gudrun were then detained at the Flak case in Ludwigsburg internment camp. Since they were not accused, she and Gudrun were released in November 1946 from internment. They took refuge for a time with the Bethel Institution of Bielefeld. Margarete's stay there was expressly endorsed by the executive board of the Bethel Institution, but this was not without controversy. On June 4, 1947, in the European edition of the New York Tribune, an article appeared entitled, "Widow of Heinrich Himmler Lives Like a Gentlewoman." Margarete was categorized in 1948 at Bielefeld as a lesser offender and was to be denazified accordingly. In 1950, Margarete retained a lawyer to challenge this classification, since she claimed that her early Nazi Party membership was no more than nominal, and that her high rank resulted from her early service with the German Red Cross, in which she had served since 1914. Margarete maintained that while she had been the wife of the Reichsführer SS, she remained far from the spotlight. Nevertheless, the Denazification Committee in Detmold revised her classification, and contended that she likely supported the goals of the Nazi Party and endorsed the actions of her husband. Her lawyer insisted during the follow-on appeals process that Margarete could not be held responsible for the actions of her husband, and countered that the official decision was guided by the idea of Sippenhaft, which meant she was responsible by familial connections. On March 19, 1951, she was finally classified as Mittelkurrencyjäger. According to this judgment, she was not to be held accountable for the crimes of her husband, despite the fact that she had not been distant from them. Additional arguments were presented that she and her daughter have benefited from the rise of her husband. Because of this fact, another denazification proceeding, started by the Bavarian Prime Minister Hans Ehard, resumed in the British occupation zone. These proceedings focused on the unresolved question of ownership of Margaret and Heinrich a unregistered trademark S. Homan GmbH. On January 15, 1953, at the final hearing against Margaret in Munich, she was classified as a beneficiary of the Nazi regime and thus placed in Category 2, and sentenced to 30 days special punitive work. She also lost her pension rights and the right to vote. Gudrun left Bethel in 1952. From the autumn of 1955, Margaret lived with her sister Lydia in Heapen. Her adopted son Gerard also lived with them in her apartment. Margarete unregistered trademark S final years were spent with her daughter in Munich. Gudrun emerged from the experience embittered by her alleged mistreatment and has remained devoted to her father's memory. Assessment: Peter Longerich notes that Marga Himmler probably did not know about the official secrets or planned projects of her husband during the Nazi era. She claimed after the war not to have any knowledge of Nazi crimes, but she remained a committed National Socialist and was certainly anti-Semitic. Jawan Quarter Gen Mach the Currency described her as a typical Nazi who wanted the Jews gone, and observed that despite any efforts contrariwise to isolate herself from the regime and its crimes, she profited from them. See also, List of Nazi Party leaders and officials, women in Nazi Germany. Notes. References, Flaherty, Th. 1988. The Third Reich, the SS. Time Life Books, Incorporated. ISBN 1-84447-073-3. Gerwarth, Robert. Hitler's Hangman, The Life of Heydrich. New Haven, Connecticut, Yale University Press. ISBN 978-0-300-11575-8. Himmler, Katrin. Michael Wilt, Himmler Privat. Briefeins paragraph a DERS. Piper, Ma 1/4 NCHEN. ISBN 978-3-492-05632-8. Himmler, Katrin. The Himmler Brothers. London, Pan Macmillan. ISBN 978-330-44814-7. Longerich, Peter. Heinrich Himmler, A Life. Oxford. New York, Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-959232-6. Manville, Roger. Frankel, Heinrich, 1965. Heinrich Himmler, The Sinister Life of the Head of the SS and Gestapo. London. New York, Green Hill. Skyhorse. ISBN 978-1-60239-178-9. Mach the Currency Us, Jawan Quarter Gen, a Euro as Warsaw Netta Euro A. As a 1/4 GEOS dem Tagebach der Marga Himmler, 1937 a Euro 1945. In, Werkstattgeschichte 25, pages 75 a Euro 93. Staff. Shadowy Nazi support group still honors daughter of SS head Sci-Fi.com. Sci-Fi News. Retrieved July 1, 2012. Wittler, Christina. Lebanon Verbolgenen. Die Wheatwe des Euro Reichsführer 1/4 Euro A Heinrich Himmler Marga Himmler in, Bar Currency Arbel Sunderbrink, Freuen in der Bielefelder Geschichte. Verlag Far 1/4 Regionalgeschichte, Bielefeld 2010, ISBN 978-3-89534-795-5, pages 193 a Euro 205. Further reading, Himmler, Katrin and Michael Wilt. Himmler Privat. Briefeins paragraph a DERS. Piper, Ma 1/4 NCHEN. 2014, ISBN 978-3-492-05632-8. Himmler, Katrin. Die Bra-1/4 der Himmler. Ein deutscher Familiengeschichte des Fischer, Frankfurt A. M. 2005, ISBN 3-10-033629-1. Longerich, Peter. Heinrich Himmler. Biography, Sigela, Ma 1/4 NCHEN 2008, ISBN 978-3-88680-859-5.